faith in you. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there's despair in life, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, let me bring your light. And where there's sadness, ever joy. Oh, Master, grant that I may never see so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. Make me a channel of your peace. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned.
And I'm so thankful for that I had two loving parents and for my family, especially my siblings, Tina, Cliff, and Dan. I'm extremely grateful for all our friends and family that have worked so hard today to be here and put this service on. Seeing everyone here in this room who once knew our mom and cared for her is a great comfort to us. Mom would be so tickled that we are all here today and celebrating her life. She loved Hoonah, and this is where she wanted us to bring her and gather. I admit I'm a little emotional and it's been challenging for me. Losing both mom and dad within 6 months last year has been tough. And I saw them every day after work and took care of them. And mom passed away so suddenly in her sleep. This was kind of a blessing and a curse, because I felt cheated that I didn't get a chance to say goodbye or hold her hand. But I knew she wasn't alone because she went with my dad. And she didn't want to go meet the lawyer that we were supposed to go to. I've reflected on a great deal about our mom and what she meant to me and all of us and what she accomplished in her life. I think I've actually written this eulogy about 3 times. I don't know how I can actually summarize or speak to her whole life because it was extraordinary. She was a complex and unique human being that touched so many lives. She was born in Costa Rica and grew up in El Salvador, and she escaped some hardships and she moved to the States when she was 16 and she lived with my aunt and uncle. Mom was bicultural and fluent in Spanish, and if you saw her on the street, you would never know that she was fluent in Spanish. She graduated high school and she decided to join the Peace Corps in 1963. This is where she met our dad. It was a love-hate relationship at first. Dad always told us that he needed to learn Spanish, and so that she was his ticket to learning Spanish. But soon he won her over with his charms and his good looks, and they were married in the Peace Corps. They borrowed clothes and they had a very simple wedding and a little button cake. So the Peace Corps is actually where I think it all began. Her love and desire to help and serve others blossomed and stayed true to her. As a young child and young adult, I watched my mom educate and help others. When we lived in Montserrat, I remember her being a visiting home health nurse and working and volunteering in the Catholic Church. She had a strong faith in the Lord. And on May 18th, 1980, when Mount St. Helens erupted, I saw her faith come through. I was about 10 or 11, and our cousins, Harlow and Alex, were staying with us. And we had gone up on the mountain and went camping, and the mountain blew. And all the younger kids were in the yellow citation, and this hot mud was coming down, and we could barely see. And I remember them Harlow and Alex saying, oh, we're gonna die, Conchita, we're gonna die. And she kept saying, no, God will get us through this. God will get us through this. And he did. And we made it home, and we were safe and sound. We prayed the whole way home. I think when your life is truly tested, like the day Mount St. Helens erupted, you think about things in your life and what you want to do. So when the job came up to go to Hoonah, Alaska, my parents leaped at the opportunity and challenge and said, kids, we're going to Hoonah. We had no idea even where Alaska was. And I think all of us thought our parents were crazy, but we followed. Little did we know that this is where the true legacy of our parents would play out. My mom, being the go-getter, that she immediately saw things that needed to be done and help the people of Hoonah. Soon we moved to the lodge, and then we became the caretakers of the White Alice site. We lived in a tent outside the White Alice site, and then we finally got our little brown house in town. But it wasn't long before she started a food co-op with Super Bear, and we were all meeting the ferry to get our groceries at all hours of the day. And then she saw a need for a store, a little gift store. And soon, half of our house became a Christmas store, and it became a candy store. And so we had lots of people coming in and out, but she saw a need, and she wanted to help Hoonah. Soon, we were the owners of the family restaurant named Mary's Inn. Mary's Inn came from Mary Brown, who had cancer, and we named that restaurant after her. This is where her mission of teaching and cooking and baking really came through, and understanding the people of Hoonah. People would come in the restaurant, talk to her, have a cup of coffee, order French fries and gravy, and just feel like it was home. We had regulars. It's where I learned to cook. She taught a lot of people probably in this room how to cook and bake, but she was always educating and always listening and trying to help make a difference. I spent many hours with my mom at Mary's Inn Cafe. We almost lost my mom in 1998 when she got really sick with a lung infection. We medevaced her to Virginia Mason, and she was on a ventilator for about a month. I remember Cliff being by her side and saying, Mom, this is the first time I can talk to you, and you're not talking back. So you're gonna listen to what I have to say. You need to come out of this coma, and you need to be here. And Cliff would talk to her, and it was wonderful because they kind of had a strenuous, little touchy relationship, but we all came together, and my mom pulled through. But she woke up, and she had missed Christmas, and she had missed New Year's in a whole month, and she was very amazed of what had happened. But as the years went by in Hoonah, Mom traveled to Mexico and did missionary work. Soon our mom and dad, with the help of Whitestone Logging, started a school and foundation called El Puente Esperanza, or the Bridge of Hope. This was a nonprofit school that would help educate teens and teach them life skills like sewing, quilting, cooking. And they were able to go to high school, and actually many went on to college. She also helped impoverished Otomi Indian women from the villages and taught them invaluable skills, sewing and cooking. This is where my mom was at home, serving and giving to her culture. I remember traveling with my mom to Mexico many times. And we would travel there, and we would take big army duffel bags, like 10 or 12 army duffel bags. And it would be stuffed full of material, candy, all these baking goods, okay? But when you went to Mexico, you had to go through customs, right? And it's a red light or green light. And if you get the green light, you get to go right through. But you got the red light, you got to unload everything, right? And every time we would go, just say a little prayer, and we get the green light. And we never, ever got a red light. Wow. God was with her. We saw our mom take leaps of faith. She was a humanitarian and a visionary person. No task or idea was too big for her. our mom lived this way. She didn't stand behind the restrictive social walls that people built. If she wanted to say something, she did. Instead of judging people, she sought to understand them. From joining the Peace Corps, moving to Australia, having children, traveling for years, surviving Mount St. Helens and being a home health nurse, moving to an isolated village called Hoonah, running Mary's Inn restaurant, starting a food co-op, Super Bear, developing El Puente, and working with Whitestone Cookhouse, and teaching and sewing so many people. Mom did so many things in her life that it's hard to believe she did it all in one life. Her last years with my dad in Florence and Cottage Grove were very special. I saw my mom's love for her beloved tortoise, Petunia, and her dogs, Sweetie and Baxter. I think my mom grew the best salads and gardened for Petunia, her tortoise. She ate better than us. Her love for flowers and gardening and butterflies became a big hobby for her. And we had pots and pots and pots of flowers. And you'll see that in the slideshow today. I think when we moved them from Florence to Cottage Grove, I don't know, we must have had 100 or more pots. And so we were always moving pots for Mom. I saw the love that my parents had for each other over the years grow. When we moved them to Cottage Grove, I pretty much saw them every day and every night on the weekends. They lived with me for a time, and even in an assisted living, and finally their own home. Dad was adamant about having his own home again and dying there. Although they couldn't sleep together in the same bedroom at night, my dad would always come in his electric wheelchair and say goodnight to her. And in fact, one night, I got a phone call from my mom. "Golly, you need to come over here right now. Your dad's stuck in the doorway. He can't get out." And this is at 3 a.m. And I got up and I drove over. And sure enough, he was stuck in the doorway. And I laughed so hard I couldn't be mad, because I knew his love was so strong for my mom that he needed to say goodnight. So we moved the wheelchair and we laughed. I knew his heart was in the right place and I couldn't be mad at him. Mom was always there for us kids. She was a good listener, but she always gave you an honest opinion about things. She always had a story or a life lesson to tell you if you were struggling or needed advice. So you had to listen. She was always loving us unconditionally, and she treated us kids fairly. She was caring and loving and kind. I would not be the woman I am today and the mother if I had not had a mother so full of compassion and love for others. She truly was an inspiration and who I admired most in this world. Of course, we miss her and my dad. How could we not? But I hope that you can continue to all practice her beliefs in compassion and her kindness and non-judgment and educate and love others. She truly was a mother and a great humanitarian. Thank you all for coming, and I hope that we can continue to celebrate today and tell stories about our mother and our father and talk about the legacy that she has and that we hope to live. Thank you all for coming.
Great job.
Por los valles cantando yo voy, mi Señor Jesús guiándome está. En mis noches de tristeza junto a la almedad me ayudará y mi Salvador. Él me salva, Él me guarda, me calienta y me cuida. Reconozco su amor donde quiera que ande yo. Por los montes, por los valles, cantando yo voy. Mi Señor Jesús guiándome está. consuelo Él me da, me ayudará, mi fiel Salvador. Él me salva, Él me guarda, me calienta y me cuida. Reconozco su amor, donde quiera que ande yo. ¡Hey!